Bash at Berlin is a pay-per-view that is going down in Germany this weekend, with courtesy of WWE. At the moment, we only have 5 matches. Now, they may throw an extra one in there on this week's episode of SmackDown, but let's face it, WWE does like to do the fewer matches approach when it comes to their big shows. So actually, I think this is probably going to be the way. So I thought we could sit down and we can predict the darn thing. And again, make sure you do so in the comments as well. I want to hear what you think. And then when we're all wrong, we can go in the corner and we can be sad panic. Now, we start with the Women's Tag Team Championships, which is the unholy union of Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, taking on Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. And as I always talk about, I know it's really boring, somebody shoot me in the face, kind of feel like we can do more with these women's tag team championships. Like when we go through every other match in this show, every single one seems to have, well, the Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens, we can probably debate, but it does have a lot of time dedicated to it on both Raw and SmackDown, whereas it comes to the women's tag team titles, you do actually get quite a lot of time dedicated to it, but it can feel a little bit wishy-washy. So I hope whatever we are going to do here lights a fire under those championships. And listen, it's not just the women's ones, it's the world ones, it's the WWE ones. I forgot that Finn Balor and JD McDonough were the champions. And I didn't even have a match on this card. I mean, maybe they will do one on SmackDown because, well, actually wouldn't make any sense. No, they won't do that at all because you already have the Bloodline who have their own tag team championships. Now, I'm sure once we come out the other end of this show, we will start focusing more on tag team wrestling. But the only reason I keep coming back to these belts, for example, the Intercontinental title isn't being defended at Bash at Berlin, but the Intercontinental title right now feels like a big deal. It's the same with the United States Championship. I think WWE has invested so much into those that you can believe them as trinkets the wrestlers want to win, whereas every single one of the tag team belts, they just need a little bit more TLC, some tender, loving care. And I think that Cargill and Belair have to win here, only because they tried before at Clash of the Castle, and they didn't. Now, that was a triple threat match, so I guess there's some shenanigans and some asterisks, but a loss is a loss, and this would count as a loss, unless you are going to break them up anytime soon, which it doesn't sound like they are going to do, unless this is the trigger point for it, and we're going to do it at a Royal Rumble or a Survivor Series. I'm not sure you could extend it through to WrestleMania. I do think that Alba Fire and Isla Dawn will lose, but let's just make sure that we have storylines and we have interesting tidbits to carry on out of this, so we do get to a Survivor Series and a Royal Rumble and a WrestleMania. We can look back to Bash at Berlin and go, oh, hi, that had some serious ramifications. So I'm going with Bianca Belair versus Jade Cargill, unless there is some, like, you know, oh no, they're going to break up, how they coexist anymore, but we haven't teased that at all on TV, so that would be quite rubbish, so they will win. There's every chance this could be a little bit dominant, because you do know how WWE likes to book these two, which I have no problem with, as long as, again, let's not forget about Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. We did that once, and it sucked. We're also going to have a strap match. That's me making a strap sound effect for no reason whatsoever, between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. And as I said about when we were talking about Raw this week, I don't really know what we're going to do here, because I actually think the more interesting story, especially because Punk whipped Drew's ass on Monday, is that Drew wins. Now, I think it's a strap match where you have to touch all 4 corners to get a result. There's no pinfalls, there's no submissions. If I am right, I could be totally wrong, you have to forgive me. WWE has been really smart there, because somebody can win without getting a visual pinfall, which does mean a big world of difference within professional wrestling. It just does. I don't know why. It's a crazy old sport / entertainment. And that technically, or that kind of, I should say, is why I think we may have gone in this direction, because then Drew can win. What did he do? He touched 4 turnbuckles. Tina the turnpad. No one cares about that. Everybody can move on from that. But Drew, as the asshole heel, can be like, ha, 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 I am Britney Spears, and I did it again. And then you get to Bad Blood, where they'll probably do another stipulation match, because now the rumor is, come WrestleMania, as long as everybody's fit and healthy, we are going to do CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, after Seth Rollins comes back. So you can't imagine that CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre would still be going on by WrestleMania, but maybe it is. I don't know. So it kind of feels like, I guess what you can do here is, if Drew wins the first one and Drew wins the second one, and then CM Punk wins the big old third one in a Hell in a Cell or a cage match, whatever it may be, and then he moves back into his feud with Seth Rollins, CM Punk has technically won the thing because he won the last one, but Drew can be like, no, I won it because I won the first 2, even though he would have won those first 2 by shenanigans. But that ain't the worst way to book it. Like, at least we're getting winners and we're getting losers by whatever nature you want to put that in. So, yes, I actually think Drew McIntyre is going to win here. I think they're going to kick each other's asses, and it's going to be pretty damn brutal, and social media is going to be a flood of people probably with blood and marks all over them. Let's not forget that when CM Punk did the MJF dog collar match, which was only, a year or 2 years ago, He went full in there, so I don't see why he's not going to go full in here. And I think it's going to be pretty good. I think their SummerSlam match was, only by a small portion of the internet, but again, you're still allowed your opinions. I thought it was unfairly reviewed. I think that match is actually quite good, all things considered. And I get some people don't like the bracelet thing, but I'm lucky. I do like the bracelet thing. I think it's an easy thing to buy into. So yes, after a lot of blood, a lot of anguish, and CM Punk, again, he's going to be on Drew, he's going to be on Drew, he's going to be on Drew. Something will happen. I mean, Drew will not really cheat, because you can't cheat in a strap match, but he will use underhanded tactics, right? He will do whatever he has to do. I'm sure that one person at least is going to get whacked in the balls, but I think Drew McIntyre will win. Now, again, if I've gotten these rules wrong because I'm a moron, someone has to slap me right in the face, but I'm pretty sure that's the reason WWE are doing it. So I'm advocating for one Drew McIntyre, which I don't mind at all, because again, jumping forward to WrestleMania, what does Drew do? You could do the triple threat match, CM Punk versus Seth Rollins versus Drew, but I kind of feel like that wouldn't be a WrestleMania focus, and you do something else. Maybe Drew McIntyre goes after Gunther after this, which would make a very interesting thing. Or maybe Randy Orton wins, which we'll get to, and then you do Randy versus Drew. But yes, in terms of this match, I am putting my stock in Drew McIntyre. We're also going to get a mixed tag team match, which you should enjoy, because WWE doesn't do these very often. It is the Terror Twins, Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley, taking on Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan, also known as the Judgment Day. I think the Terror Twins are going to lose. That's right. No ifs, no buts, no maybes. And the reason for this is because they are going to be outnumbered. The Judgment Day, of course, is going to be there. No one has said they're banned from ringside, to JD McDonough and Carlito and the rest of them too. But also, after this, probably at Bad Blood once again, you have to do Finn Balor versus Damian Priest, and you have to do Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan. I think both of those guys are going to win. So I think the next time Rhea Ripley beats Liv Morgan, I assume the title will be on the line, but either way, Rhea will get a victory there. And unless they're really going to extend the Damian Priest-Finn Balor thing, which maybe they do, maybe they don't do. Well, I tell you what, Finn Balor probably has to win that first match, so fine. In this one, probably through utter shenanigans and Dominic Mysterio being a right bell end, Rhea Ripley gets pinned by Liv Morgan for a second time, or whatever it may be, right? That will be the final thing that we do see. And that way, when we get to the next match, she just probably tears Liv Morgan apart and probably does win that Women's Championship. And then this is kind of irrelevant, although we can use it for momentum. Whereas because there was no pinfall between Finn Balor and Damian Priest, you do Finn Balor versus Damian Priest. Finn Balor wins the first one, and again, you can do 3 matches. Maybe you can extend that one to WrestleMania, and you can do it there. But I just think the Judgment Day has to win here, because one, they are the Judgment Day 2.0, so you have to establish them as a new group. But yes, when we get to the singles feuds, there's no way Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley can't walk away with these from the victors. So we do have any moments like this where we can kind of swing it the other way and balance it out a little bit. That's what we should do. And of course, Rhea Ripley is absolutely going to give Dominic Mysterio a riptide. That is going to rule. I don't think you're going to get Damian Priest giving Liv Morgan the big old choke slam, but you just never know, because let's not forget, Baron Corbin did give the end of days to Becky Lynch. I think that happened in 2017. Maybe it was a little bit later. Let's say 2018, just in case I'm a little early. That's still like 5 years ago. That's how rare WWE does this stuff, and you were going to get a mega pop. But at the same time, if it's Rhea Ripley giving the riptide to Dom, you don't need to do anything else, because that's where you want it to focus, and that's where you want all the social media highlights to be, and that's going to get the biggest pop anyway. So just for that moment, I actually don't care who wins or loses. But I love the fact that Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley now have this bond, this unity. The promo they cut on Raw I thought was super duper good. And of course, Dominic Mysterio, who's just used everything that's happened to elevate himself higher, which is crazy. And Liv Morgan is just brilliant in this role. She's so annoying in the way that she's meant to be. And she's found her place. In many ways, she almost mirrors Dom, because I don't think anybody saw Dominic Mysterio as a better heel than he would have been a babyface. And I think some people thought that about Liv Morgan as well. But right now, I can't even imagine her going back to babyface for a long old time. So they have to win. Once again, there should be proper nonsense here, but you can use weapons, chairs, the Judgment Day. It doesn't actually matter, but I look forward to it because it's unique and it actually does have a gimmick. I think in WWE, you can argue a mixed tag team match counts as a specific stipulation, but the Judgment Day gonna win. When we get to our World Championships, the first of which is Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens for the undisputed super duper whooper WWE title. Now, one of 3 things is gonna happen here. Kevin Owens is gonna turn heel and win the championship. Kevin Owens is gonna turn heel and not win the championship. Or Kevin Owens continues his current alignment and doesn't win the championship. Now, I love Kevin Owens. I genuinely think if I was gonna make a Mount Rushmore of modern wrestlers, he would be on there. That's how much I enjoy him. But I cannot see WWE taking the belt off Cody Rhodes right now and giving it to Kevin Owens. I actually think if you were going to do a mini title feud, there is something on this card where you'd be able to do that, but this is not the one. And really, the bloodline stuff has kind of served as a distraction here, because obviously that's going to be the main focus of SmackDown going forward. And we're waiting for The Rock to come back, because everyone is now saying, as we presumed anyway, that at WrestleMania 41 it will be Cody versus The Rock. So until then, what do you do? I mean, I kind of would have liked it if WWE had done what they'd done last year or a couple of years ago, whenever it was, when throughout the summer Cody was feuding with Brock Lesnar. We got those 3 matches and it felt like a big deal. Maybe you could have done that with the Kevin Owens. I suppose you could argue that's what we did with AJ Styles, but at the moment all of his feuds kind of felt like you could wrap them up in a nice neat little package as opposed to stretch them out a little bit, which is probably what a world championship needs. And listen, I wouldn't actually mind it at all if Kevin Owens won, because I would be so happy. But Cody Rhodes is going to have more momentum coming into WrestleMania season as a champion for the year, especially if he's going to take on The Rock, who I've now convinced myself is going to win the Royal Rumble. Total speculation, pulled it out my butt, but I do think that I can't see any kind of a twist here. But the question is, what do we do with Kevin Owens after the fact? Like, if Cody Rhodes just beats him, there will probably be something where Kevin Owens has won, and then I can see shenanigans here. I can see the bloodline getting involved, because it's one of those cards where there is no bloodline activity. I don't know why I have to look at the card. I know there's no bloodline activity. So given that Solo is still mad at Cody, he said, I've got next after the Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens match. Maybe they do come out and Kevin Owens once again valiantly tries to fight for Cody, but that actually costs him, and then Cody doesn't know what to do. And maybe that does lead to a Kevin Owens heel turn. I don't think that a Kevin Owens heel turn in 2024 is out of the question. It may actually freshen up a bit and give him some brand new opponents to face. Well, the problem is as well, though, if you get to Survivor Series and we do the Bloodline Civil War, I want Kevin Owens on the good guy team, because he's been fighting those guys for 4 years. So it's only a curious match, and I think because we have kind of fallen into it, it does have a certain amount of intrigue, and I want to see it. But if you got a gun to my head, I would never think that Kevin Owens is going to win. Even without a gun, knife, kendo stick, strap match, leather strap. There would be no way I'd ever actually think that Kevin Owens was winning, although I'd be happy to be surprised. And I have no idea what Cody Rhodes does after this, unless those two do go into the Bloodline Civil War. And Roman Reigns recruits them, which would be pretty badass. And that also means you could do the Bloodline, the tag team champions, taking on Roman and Cody. And you can say that makes no sense. You can say that's stupid, but I tell you what it will do. It will make a lot of cash. Given that wrestling is a business, I certainly can see that one happening. But yes, with a 99.9% anticipation rate or expectation rate, I'm going with the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes. Which brings us to Gunther versus Randy Orton for the World Heavyweight title. I do hope that this, gets the main event slot, because I think it deserves it. And of course, it's in Gunther's fake hometown of Germany. Now, listen, if you are going to do a quick title change, Randy Orton can win here. And Randy Orton can hold to the next pay-per-view, and then Gunther wins it back. I wouldn't have a problem with that at all. I think it would send a great message out to people that say, oh, hi, not everyone is going to have long title reigns. And if Gunther is going to win it back that quickly, if there's anybody on the roster that can survive that, the man's name is Gunther. He is so damn good. He just the best at everything that he does, and he would just give him a microphone, right? Let him cut a promo, let him be him stoic self, and he'd be totally fine. Again, within 6 weeks, he can win it back, and it would just be, don't do it just for a swerve. A swerve for a swerve's sake always sucks. I'm just saying, Randy Orton is a megastar. While I assume Gunther is going to be super popular, again, because Randy is such a legend, there is every chance that Gunther will be able to play the heel and Randy Orton will be able to play the face. So it's not like you're sending the fans home unhappy. And once more, we go back to this idea of, just because you're a world champion doesn't mean you're going to hold the belt for a year. Like, Gunther won it at SummerSlam, so he has only held it for a month, which is a little bit of a problem. Like, it would be better if he had won it at WrestleMania. But even then, I'm not totally against it. But seriously, do I think he is going to win? No, I don't. I think Gunther will retain the championship. Maybe Ludwig Kaiser gets involved because, again, Randy Orton needs something post all of this. And, well, that's the thing, is that Randy would then go back to SmackDown. I really don't know what we're going to do here. It's super duper interesting. Maybe that's actually where the Bloodline get involved. I mean, they don't like Randy Orton either, so maybe they swarm in on both matches. But I can't believe you're just going to get Gunther beating Randy Orton. And actually, I think WWE would be justified in that, because Randy Orton needs something to do after this. So with Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes, whereas Gunther has so many people lined up. Like on the live shows right now, they're doing Ilya Dragunov versus Gunther. You can pull the trigger on that whenever you want. We talked about Drew McIntyre. I mean, it's an interesting dynamic, but you can do it. You can do heel versus heel. There's nothing stopping you. And, you could even put CM Punk in that situation if he was going to defeat Drew McIntyre, which I wouldn't mind either, because let's just get these matches done. We don't know what's around the corner. People can get injured. So if you have a match you want to pull the trigger on, you just pull the trigger on. But that's the most interesting thing about this Bash at Berlin card, is you can kind of predict the winners, but I'm not sure many people can predict what's going to happen on a Raw or a SmackDown going forward. But I'm going with Gunther. Gunther will win. Who he feuds with after, I have no idea. Maybe Randy Orton goes back into the Bloodline Civil War. I don't know. Maybe Kevin Owens and Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes fall out, and it's Randy Orton that has to play the father figure, which is kind of what his new gimmick is. But I'm going with Gunther, which means the whole card is we get one title change, brand new women's tag team champions. Drew McIntyre beats CM Punk. Judgment Day wins the mixed tag. Cody Rhodes retains his belt, and so does Gunther. But once again, make sure you let me know in the comments what you think. And am I confident about this? Of course I'm not. I always get it wrong. Now, yes, one more time, please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen, which is me talking about wrestling some more. Otherwise, you can go to grillermind.com/Simon. You just go to Simon, get 10% off. Because it's early in the week, some pre-workouts I have 35% off, or 30% off, sorry. So you can get that too. Otherwise, Go Fitness, just go to Simon20. Patreon.com/Simon316. I'm at 316 on all social media platforms. They're on TikTok, Simon Miller on Cameo, and ProWrestlingTees.com/Simon Miller for t-shirts. Otherwise, enjoy the show, my friends. It's always fun, and I'll see you soon.